So in addition to your guiding, you're also a very successful promotional fisherman, representing sponsors, working closely with manufacturers on product ideas, that kind of a thing. And this is an aspect of the business that's a bit of a mystery to a lot of people. So tell us what it took for you to get started in this kind of specialty area within the outdoor industry.
Well, you know, probably the single biggest, I'm pretty lucky. I've got sponsors for just about every category of fishing equipment that there is. And I'm very lucky in that regard because, you know, the stuff is expensive, and it's, you know, any kind of help you can get to go and do everything that we do is huge. The single biggest thing that I get asked all the time by people that are, you know, getting into it and have aspirations to make a living in fishing is, how do I get sponsors? And, you know, the reality of it is it's a lot harder now than it was 8 or 10 years ago. But I was pretty lucky to form some good relationships at a young age, and that's what it is. It's all about relationships, and you kind of grow from there.
I'm guessing that your personality, and you of course would be uncomfortable probably saying this, but I would guess that your personality had a lot to do with the fact that you were able to get sponsors as well, because the fact is that there's a lot of people who are good at catching fish, and there's a lot of people who love to fish in tournaments, and there's a lot of people who would love to be a professional fisherman, but there's not necessarily a lot of people who are good at representing their sponsors, probably including approaching them about becoming your sponsors. So tell us about how important it is to have the kind of personality where you have the guts to make that contact with that company, and you have what it takes to build those relationships.
Well, you know, and this is no secret, but the thing is people say you got a group of people that just fish tournaments and they do good, and they figure, okay, I'm winning these tournaments, I should be getting sponsored, and you get credibility from tournaments, but you go up on stage and you wear a shirt that has a company logo on it, nobody cares. No, they're not. That's not helping to sell more reels or more lures. Or
so what does? What do you have to do to do a good?
You know what I try? I really, as far as I go, I try not to be too advertorial. Whether I'm writing or talking, or I really try to help people to catch more fish. And hey, I have secrets that I don't want to tell people, whether it's, you know, related to a bass tournament or a muskie spot or a walleye spot. But at the end of the day, I'm smart enough to know that I have to, you know, try to encourage people to have good experiences when they go out fishing, and if they catch fish and have fun, they're going to want to do it more, and they're going to want to tell their buddies about it. They're going to want to buy more, you know, the equipment that helped them out.
So what is it that you do that you think helps you do a good job of representing your sponsors?
You know, so I really started out with my sponsor relationships from fishing tournaments. I started at a young age, and that was when I wrote them all, Rapala and Shimano and Northland, all these companies, letters when I was 13 and 14 and 15 years old. Sponsor me, I'm fishing in the Kenora Bass International Tournament. And, you know, these guys would send me a little box full of some lures or a fishing rod, and I can tell you right now that was like Christmas in July for me. But that's what started the relationships. And as time went on, I've sort of gotten to realize that there's a lot more to being a valuable promoter than just fishing tournaments. Like I said, the tournaments give you some credibility. I've been lucky to win a few pretty big events that, you know, was at the right time, that people kind of, I was able to get introduced to a lot of the right people because of winning these events. But
so fishing in the tournaments and doing well in them is important, or
yeah,
it can be.
It can be important. I mean, it's just going to help you open more doors. I mean, if you're competitive, then you know, I guess people want to maybe associate with you a little bit more. But beyond the tournaments, I've over the last 7 or 8 years, I've gotten into doing a lot of writing. I've written hundreds of articles. I write a newspaper column for the Kenora and Fort Francis, some local newspapers that runs every week. I have my own TV show called Fishing with Gussie that's on across Canada. I do a lot of different promotional events for sponsors, from working at boat shows to helping out at different types of tournaments. Just try to, I don't have a regular 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job. So one area that I'm valuable to these guys is that I have the time. If I have some notice, I can make the time to be at different functions, and that's been that's been huge too. If you work Monday to Friday, it's tough to show up at some of these things on your one day off, and that's been good for me. The other thing that I do, and I have done for a long time, is I do a lot of guiding, and that allows you to be on the water and in a lot of different conditions, weather-wise and fishing-wise, and you combine all that experience, and you're confident in telling people what works and what doesn't work, and telling the manufacturers, like, this is good, this isn't so good.
So especially when it comes to the promotional side
Mm-hmm.
of the business, let's talk about the challenges that you face, particularly when it comes to travel. Because you're one of these guys who seems to be everywhere. All kinds of photo shoots, in print
Mm-hmm.
ads, making appearances, as you mentioned, giving seminars, showing up at outdoor writers conferences,
Mm-hmm.
meeting with your sponsors, and more. So if there's ever been an example of somebody who makes a never-ending effort to be part of the scene, you're it, given that you live almost at the end of the road up here in northwestern Ontario.
Yeah.
And so what kind of a commitment does it take for you to keep getting into your truck and hopping on airplanes and keeping yourself in the middle of this whole business?
Well, the way I look at it is every opportunity you get to do something, you better take advantage of it, because I know that I'm lucky that I get to do what I do. I get tired of going out on crappy rainy days, and sometimes I just don't want to go fishing on a day. And I mentioned it earlier, but at the end of the day, if I had to go carry drywall around for 3 days, I would really like going fishing in the rain and wind, but I've really realized that the more things that you can do and opportunities that you take advantage of, the more people you're going to meet, the more experience you're going to get, and I really feel like it's just like anything. The more people you get, the more opportunities are going to come your way, and I don't. I try and do as many things as I can, whether it's going to a boat show in Toronto or Minneapolis, or going to a photo shoot in Arkansas. I've been able to do a lot of really cool things and experienced quite a bit of travel over the years, and I have a lot of fun with it. It's it's tough to leave home sometimes, but usually it works out pretty good. My fiance August likes to fish as well, and she comes along on a lot of the trips and fits in with everybody pretty good, and we have a lot of fun. She gets on me, sometimes with some of these tournaments that I travel around and do, but for the most part, she's pretty supportive of everything. So
I just wanted to mention that, because a lot of people want to know, like, how do I break into this? And my sense of it is that in a lot of cases, it's just plain a lot of effort to do it. And I wanted to point you out as an example of, hey, you want to talk about somebody who has to drive a lot to get to places?
Yeah.
It takes you, what, 2.5 hours probably before you even get to the border with between Minnesota and Ontario.
Yeah.
Right? And then now you mentioned that you're going to be fishing in tournaments in Arkansas and Texas, and that's a tremendous commitment So would you say that in a lot of cases you just have to decide that you're going to go for it, or if you're kind of half in and half out, you're probably never going to make it, right?
And that's the reality of it, you know. I have a lot of friends that guide a lot more than I do. They go hard and go for, you know, 90 days straight over the summer, and that's not what I really want to do. But these guys do a great job, and they make it pretty good. But no, you really, it's one of those things that it's the fishing industry is very demanding.